Hello everybody, welcome to my video training. Today I'm going to talk about how a Cisco switch learn MAC address and build the MAC address table. When the switch is power on, it has nothing in its MAC address table. The MAC address table is empty when the switch power on. So in order to populate the MAC address table, we need the host to start sending frame to the switch. So in this picture up here, you see I have a switch connected to 3 PCs, PC1, PC2 and PC3, and I have their MAC address up here. I just made up this MAC address for the simplicity of this demonstration. So when the switch power on, the MAC address table is empty, and in the MAC address table you will see we have like 4 columns. The VLAN, when the switch learn the MAC address of a host, it will also learn the VLAN for the host, like the VLAN where the PC belongs. It will also learn the port where the frame comes from, and this type is for the if it is a static entry or a dynamic entry. Like the static entry are the MAC address that the switch has in its table by default, you know. So if you are like having static entries will be always on the MAC address table. It doesn't matter if the switch is power on or power off. The starting MAC address will stay on the table. Just keep that in mind. So now let's say that that PC1 up here wants to communicate with PC2. Since this is the first time we start a communication happening between PC1 and PC2, when PC1 send the frame to the switch on fast internet 0/1, the switch will receive the frame, and the first thing the switch will do is to look at the source MAC address. And when this PC1 send a frame, this frame will have a source MAC address and a destination MAC address. And if we are having PC1 talking to PC2, so the source MAC address will be PC1 MAC address, and the destination MAC address will be PC2 MAC address. So PC1 will send the frame on port fast internet 0/1, received by the switch. The first thing the switch will do is to look at the MAC address table. If the switch have an entry for the MAC address of PC1, it will move to the destination MAC address. I mean, if the switch have an entry for the MAC address of PC1, the switch will look for the MAC address of the destination host. Like in this case, it's gonna be a PC2 MAC address. And if the switch doesn't have an entry for PC2 MAC address, it's gonna send out the frame out all ports except the port it comes from. So this is the concept you need to understand. So let me say it again. If PC1 send the frame, the first thing the switch will do is to check the source MAC address. If the source MAC address is on the MAC if the switch has an entry for the MAC address, the switch will look for the destination MAC address. But if the switch doesn't have an entry for the MAC address, the source MAC address, the switch will then add the MAC address to its MAC address table. That's what we have in this case up here. So like in this case, the switch doesn't have an entry for the MAC address for PC1. So the switch will add an entry to the MAC address table for PC1 MAC address, and then it will look for the destination MAC address. Since in this table we don't see a PC2 MAC address, so the switch will send out the frame to all ports. Like in this case, the switch will send out the information to FA02 and FA03. So this is the case. So let's see if PC2 try to reply to the frame to PC1. So PC2 is trying to reply to the frame, you know, up here. So the same process is going to happen to the switch. So this is what you need. So in a one-to-one communication, always what the switch will do is, like, when it receives the frame, it's going to look for the source MAC address. If it doesn't have an entry, it's going to add the MAC address to the MAC address table. If it has an entry, so the switch will move on to the destination MAC address. If the switch doesn't have an entry for the MAC address, for the destination MAC address, it will send out the information to all ports. But in this case, the switch has already an entry. Let's look at it. Has an entry for PC1 MAC address. So the switch, instead of sending out the information to all ports, the switch will send the information just to PC1, like on port FA0/1. So this is the communication that take place. So the switch will forward the frame out to PC1 on FA0/1. And so now let's say if PC3 wants to communicate to PC2. If PC3 wants to communicate to PC2, so I think you already know the answer based on what I already explained. So let's go and look at the MAC address table. So you see the MAC address table up here. So since the switch already know the MAC address for PC2, and the switch, let's assume now the switch doesn't have an entry for PC3 MAC address. So when PC3 send this frame, the switch gonna add the MAC address of PC3 to the table because it doesn't have an entry, and then it's gonna look for the destination MAC address. Since it has an entry for PC2 MAC address, so it's gonna send the information just on this port up here on FA0/2, and the switch will forward the frame. So this is the the scenario. I'm gonna recap what I just say. So in order to understand how the switch learn the MAC address of the devices, is first of all, the first thing the switch will do is to look at the source MAC address. The switch will not look at the destination MAC address first. The first step the switch will always do is to look at the source MAC address. And if it doesn't have an entry for the MAC address, the source MAC address, it will add that source MAC address to the MAC address table. If the switch has an entry for the source MAC address, the switch will then move to the destination MAC address. If the switch has an entry for the destination MAC address, it will send out the information, the frame, I mean, to just the correct port. if the switch doesn't have an entry for the destination MAC address, the switch will then send out the information to all its port except the port the frame has come from. So you have to keep that in mind. So that's once you if you have that in your head, I think that you will understand how the switch populate the MAC address table. So right now I'm gonna go and show you go to Packet Tracer up here, and I'm gonna show you in action how this thing happened. So I'm gonna go to the switch up here. I'm gonna show you, because this switch already learned the MAC address for those two PCs, for the PCs. Let me reload the switch. I'm gonna reload the switch. So we're gonna have a fresh start. I'm gonna reload the switch, and we're gonna see the MAC address table will be empty. You know. Reload the switch. Let's give it some time. You know, switch is reloading. Close the level. Okay, it's reloading. This switch is reloading, but it's taking a long time to reload, you know. So let me just go up here and try to figure out what happened right now. The device is still booting. Please wait until it is finished. Okay. So let's go to the CLI. It's booting. That's what it says. It's booting. But it is slow, you know. So let's give it some time, you know. It's gonna boot up, because I just wanna show you when the switch just power on, you know, what's gonna happen, you know. I think this is taking a while, you know. Equivalent CLI. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just take out this switch and put like put a brand new switch, you know, because this is taking a while, you know. I'm gonna delete the switch, you know. So let me put a new switch up here, because this is gonna take a while for the switch to. Okay. And now let's let me add some cabling. I think a straight through cable will work. 0/1 for PC1, and for PC2 is gonna be 0/2 for PC2, and for PC3 is gonna be 0/3. Excellent. So right now, let's give it some time. This switch is gonna. So in the meantime, let's go to the CLI. Enable, and let's go and check the MAC address table, you know. You see the MAC address table is empty right now because the switch is loading. So because we even have the interfaces is not on yet. So let's go to show IP interface. Brief. Show IP. interface brief. And you see all these interfaces are down, you know, down. 0/1, 0/2, both of them are I think they're up right now. They say it's up, but let me see. Okay, quit. So let me try to see if I can ping from PC1 to PC2. Okay, it says up, it's up. Okay, let me try to go and ping from PC1. Ping PC2. I'm gonna see if the ping is gonna go through. Okay, say the ping is timeout because we have a problem in the connection is coming up. You see the ping is replying, you know. So now let's go to the switch and try to look for the MAC address table. Okay, MAC address table. We don't have an entry yet for the MAC address, you know, but let's just give some time. So so let me make another ping. Ping is going through, you know, and let's see if we see the MAC address for those PCs. Okay, you see now the MAC address is here, you know, and since we have a communication between PC1 and PC2 up here, so the switch just only know about those two MAC address. PC1, I believe this is PC1 MAC address. No, this is PC1 MAC address on fast internet FA 0/1, and this is PC2 MAC address. And you see, we didn't have an entry for PC3 MAC address, and the reason why is it was a ping that was sent only to PC2. So in order for me to get PC3 MAC address, I will have to create a communication between PC3 and PC2 in order to get the MAC address of PC3. So I have to make a communication happen between PC3 to those two devices, one of those two devices up here. So what I'm going to do right now is I think you already understand what I was trying to explain to you, and you see the switch will learn the VLAN for the host, the VLAN where the host belong, and this is the MAC address. This is the type, like say dynamic, you know, I already explained that. And this is the port where the frame come, the information for the MAC address come from, on this port for PC2, and this one for PC1. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go to PC3, and I'm going to try to do the ping for the same thing. I'm going to try to ping PC. I'm going to try to ping PC2, and the IP address is 10.10.10.2 for PC2. So we have a connection, so it's replying successful. So let's go to the switch and do the MAC address again. Show MAC address table, and you see what I was telling you. Now we have all those 3 MAC addresses for the 3 PCs, and this is the way a PC, you know, learn all the MAC address of the hosts that are connected to, that are coming to, learn the MAC address table, you know. Even the switch can learn MAC address of hosts that are not directly connected to the switch, you know. But in the upcoming video, I will show you how those things can happen, you know. But right now, just know that this is the way, you know, a switch populate the MAC address table, you know. So right now we have the MAC address table for all these 3 hosts, you know. So and I hope this video will help you understand the concept of a switch learning the MAC address from the devices. And I would like to thank you for watching. Thanks.